According to psychology, people who overthink every little thing are often misunderstood. And if you are one of them, note that you aren't insecure, not neurotic, not annoying, and definitely not broken. In many cases, your brain works at a processing speed that makes normal thinking feel slow, shallow, or dangerously careless. And if you spend your nights replaying conversations or predicting every possible future outcome, there are real psychological reasons behind it. 1. You possess a biological sentinel intelligence. If you overthink, you probably aren't just worrying, you are scanning for threats. Research suggests that worry is an evolutionary trait linked to higher intelligence. In ancient times, the people who overthought or the ones who anticipated the predator in the bushes were the coming winter. You aren't being paranoid, you are being prepared. Your brain is wired to predict problems before they happen so you can solve them. While most people walk blindly into difficult situations, you have already simulated the scenario 10 times in your head. You don't overthink because you are weak. You overthink because your instinct is to protect yourself and the people you love. Now, being a protector explains why you predict danger, but it doesn't explain why you replay awkward social moments from 3 years ago. That comes down to how your brain processes emotion. 2. You run deep emotional simulations to avoid hurting others. People who overthink are rarely selfish. They are usually hyper-empathic. Research calls this predictive processing. You replay conversations not because you are obsessed with yourself, but because you are analyzing how your words affected someone else. You are terrified of being misunderstood or causing accidental pain. You constantly calibrate your behavior to ensure you are being a good person. While others say whatever comes to their mind without a second thought, you carefully curate your words. You carry the emotional weight of every interaction because you care deeply about the outcome. However, caring this much takes a massive toll on your energy levels, and this leads to a trait that most people mistake for laziness. 3. You have a depth of processing brain type. You don't just experience life, you analyze it. Psychology links this to the highly sensitive person trait. Your brain doesn't have a filter for unimportant details. You notice the shift in someone's tone, the micro-expression on their face, and the hidden meaning behind a text message. Research shows that your brain processes information more thoroughly than the average person. This is why you feel exhausted after a day of doing nothing. You weren't doing nothing. You are processing gigabytes of sensory data that everyone else ignored. You overthink because you are taking in more of the world than most people can handle. But taking in all that information doesn't just make you tired, it makes you incredibly creative. This is where your struggle becomes your superpower. 4. You have a genius-level imagination that needs a target. Overthinking is simply imagination without a project. Research shows a strong correlation between high anxiety and high creativity. Your mind is an engine that produces scenarios, stories, and connections. When you don't give that engine a problem to solve, it turns on you and creates problems that don't exist. You visualize worst-case scenarios with the same part of the brain that creates art, strategy, and innovation. You aren't suffering from a mental defect. You are suffering from unused creative potential. Your brain is begging for a complex challenge to solve. 5. You refuse to settle for mediocrity. People who overthink are often perfectionists in disguise. You analyze every decision because you want the optimal outcome. You don't want to just get by, you want to do things right. Research shows that this trait, while stressful, leads to higher quality work and better decision-making in the long run. You think twice because your standards are higher. You are constantly trying to bridge the gap between reality and your vision of how things should be. Here's what this means. If you overthink everything, it doesn't mean you are crazy. It means your mind works differently, with more foresight, deeper empathy, higher sensitivity, and a drive for excellence. You have a strategist's mind in a world that often rewards impulsiveness. You aren't broken, you are just running a more advanced operating system. If you're the type of person who stays up late analyzing the universe, drop a brain emoji in the comments so we can find our tribe there. And if you want to understand the psychology behind your complex mind, hit that subscribe button right now, because the next video might just change how you see your entire